So there was Catherine McKenna, Minister of Man-Made Climate Change, Asteroids and Extinction Events in St. John's, Newfoundland recently. Not sure if she pedaled her bike over to the Rock. Anyway, they have a tradition down east that transforms mainlanders like McKenna into temporary honorary Newfoundlanders. It involves kissing a codfish. I think the Newfs took that from a Scientology ritual or something. Here, check it out. Geez, where's Aquaman when you really need him? Oh, and by the way, there's absolutely no truth to the rumor that Miss McKenna thought that the kiss delivered by the fake codfish was far more passionate than what she normally receives from her house husband, Scott Gilmore. You know, the guy who wrote in Maclean's that Canada is not a country, even though both he and the missus live off the largesse of the Canadian taxpayer. Anyway, post-tonsil hockey with the cod, Climate Barbie, who I suspect was very well refreshed by this time, decided to engage in a discussion with a couple of bar patrons, one of them being Mark Critch of This Hour Has 22 Minutes. You know, a federal Liberal always has time for a CBCer. May as well make full use of that $1.5 billion taxpayer subsidy for the state-approved stenographers, after all. Anyhow, McKenna thought she'd pass on some real advice to the barflies when it comes to the fine art of communications. Check it out.
You know, I actually gave them some real advice. I said that if you actually say it louder, we've learned in the House of Commons, if you repeat it, if you say it louder, if that is your talking point, people will totally believe it, so just go it.
Like, totally, man. Wow, how does Catherine McKenna pull off that unique dialect? A bizarre combination of vocal fry mixed with the inflection one encounters when conversing with a Southern California valley girl. Amazing. But I'm going to give her points for honesty in her summation of how to pull off dishonesty. Just consider what she said. Quote, if you actually say it louder, we've learned in the House of Commons, if you repeat it, if you say it louder, if that is your talking point, people will totally believe it, end quote. So to paraphrase Tina Turner, what's truth got to do with it? In fact, all I could think of is that infamous quote, often attributed to Germany's former Minister of Propaganda, Joseph Goebbels, quote, if you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will believe it, end quote. And no, folks, by way of clarification, I am definitely not calling McKenna a Nazi. She may be dumber than the plastic doll who inspired her nickname, but she's not evil. I'm just pointing out that she's using classic propaganda techniques that Goebbels himself embraced. Oh, by the way, I should note here that Miss McKenna, on the other hand, has absolutely no problem implying that her critics are Nazis, calling them deniers, a loaded buzzword that's usually used to label those who doubt the authenticity of the Holocaust. But in fairness, she had ingested some liquid courage by this time, and she had just kissed a fish, the cod, not Gilmore, that is, and she was probably bemoaning the fact that she'd soon have to board a carbon-spewing Boeing to get back to the left coast. So I guess what I'm saying is this: cut Miss McKenna some slack, even though she never cuts any of us some slack, be it her sanctimonious preaching or her implementation of a carbon tax. After all, to her, everyday Canadians are just an enormous school of codfish that are meant to be intellectually indoctrinated and economically harvested via the fisher folks who comprise the Justin Trudeau Liberals. For the Rebel.media, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, the Rebel has a new app. Please download that app and take the Rebel with you wherever you travel.